Buddy, welcome to the very first episode of Foods for Dudes and Ladies. I'm Dustin Reed. I've been kicking this idea around for quite some time. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make super easy quick ribs. I call them kiss ribs. Keep it simple, stupid. Anybody can do this with any type of grill. You don't need no fancy smoker. Hell, you don't even need aluminum foil or anything like that. All you need is a Tank 7. That's what today's episode is brought to you by. Ribs and anything that you have in your pantry. Today I happen to actually get some rib rub, so I'm going to use that. I use this rib rub here, the Squeal. I hope you can see that, and a little bit of seasoned meat tenderizer. And then here's my ribs. So what I do is I usually get about a quarter cup of oil in a bowl. Then I take about a quarter cup of brown sugar, and then go hefty on all your seasonings, anything you're doing. Last time I didn't have any rib rub. Oh, here comes the smoke. I didn't have any rib rub. I didn't have literally anything. So I just went through my pantry. I used chili powder, brown sugar, paprika, garlic salt, little onion salt. You could do whatever you want with these, man. There's no biasness here. So, like I said, you don't need no fancy grill, no fancy smoker, none of that stuff. I'm going to show you mine. I don't really have a fancy grill. I guess it is. It's pretty large. But so as you can see, the top of my charcoal is completely ripped off, right? So one little trick that I do, I have a charcoal starter, and I hate the chemicals and lighter fluid. To me, it gives a really off taste to the meat, so I avoid that type of stuff. But what I do is I rip pieces of that charcoal bag off after I dump it in the starter, and I just use that as my starter. Use what you got, right? Also today, I have no preferences on smoke or any of that stuff. I got a buddy who showed me a long time ago you could just use oak. I mean, and I've got 4 oak trees in my yard. Come to find out, they taste pretty darn good. So I just went into my yard with what I got, using what I have, and that's what I'm going to use as my smoke, with some twigs I found on the ground. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to set these babies up on the grill and show you how to cook them. Alright guys, sorry about all the funny shading and whatnots and the shiny head, but so as you can see, I've actually got my fire going, my charcoal going. Now something that's extremely important is having it offset from the heat, and I'm having a brain fart right now, but set it off from the heat. I put mine in the middle. Put all your coals to one side. That's even if you have a Weber grill, anything of that nature, whatever grill you're using, put all the coals to one side, put your meat on the other side. Very important. One other important step I forgot to mention to you guys when I was prepping my ribs is I do peel the skin off the back. I personally think that's very important for good tender ribs. These always do come out pretty darn tender. They're not fall off the bone, but man, they are good for 2-hour ribs. So my temperature before I raised my grill was up over 500. Now we're down to 450. That is okay. I've got this handy dandy little tool here that I like to use. It's called the pick and stick. So keep my hands clean. So I'm going to show you how I set these up. I lay them down just like this. See there? Look at that. That's beautiful. Got a super hot fire. Now I'm going to throw some of my oak that I found in the yard for my smoke, and you don't need to smoke them the whole time, or just keep the fire hot. That is one thing I have learned. You do have to keep this fire going at a pretty steady 500, 450 degrees in order for these to be done in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So stay tuned. I'm going to throw this wood on, and I'll see you as soon as they're done, and I'll show you some of the other steps I do in the meantime. You know, you can glaze them after like 40 minutes. Want to flip them, etc. And I'm going to show you all that stuff, so stay tuned. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes, closer to 45. Look at all that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip these bad boys. I threw some potatoes on since I got another 45 minutes to cook. All I'm going to do is just flip them, and I'll show you. There we go. Now, here in about another, say, I don't know, another 20 minutes, I'll probably spin them around just to get both sides evenly cooked. I did that a little bit earlier on that. I should have shown you, sorry. But I keep forgetting also that there's only, I'm only doing little 30-second clips since I'm doing this on my phone. I'm hoping to get way better at this and getting the stuff to edit videos and do a lot better quality stuff. But for my first time, I wanted to jump off the cliff and just start doing it. So forgive me for all the miscues and the brain farts, etc., etc. So stay tuned. I got another 40 minutes-ish on these ribs, and we'll check them out, and I'll show you what they look like when we're done. All right, it's been another 20 minutes or so. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go ahead and baste it. As you can see, they're coming along nicely. Potatoes are doing well. I'm going to use Gates Sweet and Mild today. Everyone has their own preference. Everybody has their own flavors. This is just what I happen to have in my refrigerator, so that's what I like to do, whatever I got. Something else I wanted to show you guys, though, is an amazing side dish we eat all the time. A lot of people don't like zucchini. Zucchini is actually amazing, and I'm going to show you what I do. And here's one of my zucchini. So you cut them in half long ways, put a little bit of oil. You can use whatever oil you have on hand, and then you set them on the grill like this. Get the grill good and hot. Set them on there just like a steak, just like you're grilling a steak. You want it to be really hot. As you can see, I added my second grate so I could do my zucchinis. But you want to cook these for about 5 minutes on each side, super hot. You want to grill them super hot. You want them seared. So here you go. That's what it looks like. And here within the next 5 minutes or so, I'm going to go ahead and turn and flip them and show you what they look like. Now I'm going to baste these ribs and show you those too. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to flip my zucchini. I want to show you what they look like. See how they got a little bit of blackened on them. Just a little bit of blackened. That's great. So zucchini sweat, and that's why you have to baste them with a little bit of oil before you put your seasonings on. Now, I don't remember if I showed you guys the seasonings I put on. I just use the same old rib rub. I always use rib rub on them. Whatever I got in the pantry, of course, and then garlic, salt, and oil. That's it. Cover them really good because, like I implied, they do sweat, which means some of this stuff leaks off from all the liquid that's inside of a zucchini, which is also why you want to grill them really hot. So, there's my last one. See, I'm a little bit hotter on this side, so I'm going to scoot them all down to that hot side. And there you go. We're almost done. I'm about to check the temperature on these ribs. As you can see, I've already basted them. I'm going to flip them and baste the other side and let them cook for another 15 minutes, and we'll see the results. Alright, here we are 20 minutes later. Sorry I have to do this, by the way. I'm doing this all in one video on my phone, so I have to pause it every time I want to do a segment. So until I get the right stuff to actually edit videos and do this with my GoPro, etc., they're going to be like this, so I apologize. But here's the finished product, and I can't wait to show you guys. I can't wait to take a bite of them. They look amazing. I put my meat thermometer into the thickest part of the ribs, and they were at 170 degrees, so everything's done. And here we are, an hour and 53 minutes in. So it took a little bit longer than expected. I did keep my fire super hot though. Here you go. I'm going to show you the degrees, but it still is. Here it is, an hour, almost 2 hours later. So do keep your fire hot the entire time. All right, so here they are. Yes, there's the finished zucchini, the potatoes. Here's the majority of the products I used, and my second Tank 7. The thing with those Tank 7s though, they're 8.5% alcohol, so these only took me 2 beer ribs. I said 3 beer. If you're doing Busch Light, which is my personal favorite quantity beer, it's probably going to be about 6. So anyways, I'm going to show you what they look like after I cut them up. We take a big bite out of them. I hope they're good since this is my first video. If they're not, I'm still going to show it anyway. Alright? So I wanted to mention this being the first Foods for Dudes. I am not a chef. I just love food. I love sharing food with people. And I just wanted to share my little tips and whatnots with people. I know the whole food cooking industry market via Facebook and YouTube and stuff is pretty well saturated, but this is just me sharing my stuff with you guys. I have no intentions here except to share. So one other thing I forgot to mention too, even though I'm cooking ribs and all this other delicious stuff, my son is 99% vegetarian. We've been for about 4 or 5 years now, he's been eating vegetarian food, as I like to call it. And so that's been a lot of fun too. So I'm going to share some segments too, how to feed your family without any meat and stay healthy. But tonight I'm cooking him some frozen vegetarian burgers. And just using what heat I got left on that grill to cook him up some delicious burgers. If you didn't notice, the cheese, I learned this from a friend. The same friend that actually I learned the whole find some oak stuff in your yard to use for smoke as your smoking device when doing ribs or pork butt, anything. His name's Scott Smith. I got to give the guy a shout out. I've actually learned a ton from Scott Smith. The guy's an amazing cook. And I hope to have, after this whole quarantine, I hope to have some guests on for my segments, etc., etc. But he showed me how to fold cheese so you don't have to make a huge mess. So, when you're trying to cheese your burgers, fold the corners in, and you don't make a giant mess on your grill, and it melts the cheese, everything's great, and everything's delicious. One thing I failed to mention on those ribs, though, is like any meat that you cook on the grill, or even in the oven, whatever you're doing, you want to let it rest for at least 10 minutes before you do anything. So I let it rest for another 10 minutes. Went ahead and opened up another beer. This one's called Trailsmith from Crane Brewery. So basically everything I've got on this table is all local Kansas City stuff. The Squeal's made in KC, Gates Barbecue, Tank 7, and Trailsmith. Obviously the ribs and the zucchini and stuff and the potatoes are all from elsewhere. But I like to use as much locally sourced stuff that I can get. And so here you go. Here's the ribs. I let them sit, I let them rest, and let's see how tender they are. Oh my gosh, they're delicious. Look at that. One other thing I forgot to mention too, I hope I have stuff all over my face. Here, let me do another one. I keep biting the bone, but as you can see, they are not fall off the bone, but they are tender, they are delicious, they're amazing. All in less than 2 hours. Remind you, I know all the rib enthusiasts out there probably can't believe that I just cooked my ribs at almost 500 degrees for 2 hours, and they came out so amazing. But I hope you guys take this, run with it. I wanted to test and see how interested people were. And I know there's a lot of people out there that can't really cook. I can't either, but like I said, I love food. I love sharing. And so I just wanted to share this stuff with you guys, make little videos. So once a week, I'm going to post a video on YouTube and on a new Facebook group I'm starting called Foods for Dudes and Ladies. To help anyone that needs a little bit of help. If you want to impress your ladies, if you want to impress your dudes, this is the place to tune into. So I highly encourage all of you to share any recipes you guys have, any little videos you guys have, heck, any tips you guys have on what I just did, or any critiques, anything you want. I'm totally open for business. So love all of you. Stay safe during this quarantine, and enjoy the video, and enjoy some 2-hour ribs. Peace.